That was weird. All right. So, hey, we ended up getting it figured out. So, welcome.
Thank you for having me. About 30 minutes later.
Nice. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
okay.
Like I said, I was up all night long watching World Cross Country and everything. And now I've got to try to watch Lolo run the hurdles, see if she breaks her own world record.
Right.
And it's a long weekend, but it's an exciting weekend. It's fun.
Oh yes. Is she running the indoor? She's running the indoor nationals.
Yeah, she
Okay.
ended up declaring for U.S. Open.
Oh wow.
So yeah, she's running at what would be 3:12 your time.
Okay. Got it.
So as long as they're on schedule, which they tend to be pretty darn good at. So
Oh, definitely. Definitely.
so how was Gainesville other than what I already put out there on the video?
Gainesville was pretty good. I wish that I had a little more rest and a little more time, but you know, meets come and go and you have to be ready when they're ready. And
Yeah.
they allowed it to happen. The warm-ups and everything went very great. Um, there wasn't a bunch of little kids in a way. So typically if you go to an AAU meet or something like that, just to jump in and get your time, you have to wait for a lot of the children and teenagers and a lot of parents that wanted to, watch and spectate. But this was all business, all college.
Yeah.
Stephen Gardner was actually there too from the Bahamas.
Okay, so off the top of my head, I'm not familiar with him, but I believe it's Rodney Atherton. Do I have that name right? He was there?
He probably was. He
Master
was the only person
65.
that like really stuck out, visually. He's the 400-meter Olympic champion, and I believe world champion as well.
Oh, open category. Okay.
Right? Yeah, tall,
Oh, okay.
slender person,
Yeah.
Bahamian. Hmm.
Nice. Well, that's pretty cool. So he went all the
Yeah.
way to Gainesville.
Oh yeah, yeah. And you know what? To be honest with you, I believe a lot of the Open Olympians, a lot of them definitely train down here in sunny Florida. So it's
Mhm.
either Miami, Orlando. Dennis Mitchell has a camp over in Orlando with the likes of Shakiri and Isaiah Young. Justin Gatlin was training over there at one time, and a host of others, just to name a
Doesn't
few.
Otto coach down there too? Otto
He
Hogan?
does, yes.
Yeah.
And he was it's near Orlando, but the area is called Claremont. And he has Brianna Williams as a sprinter. He may have other athletes
Yeah.
that I'm not aware of. And Noah Lyles that also trains in that same area.
Oh, sweet. Okay.
Hmm.
Well, good deal. Well, glad to have you. You're doing some fantastic things this year already. Like I had posted on the original video, you have been, and this brings up a huge question I have for you. So you've been ranked 49 times top 10 USA, 17 times number one. And in
Okay.
the world, you were ranked top 10 29 times, and 9 times you were number one in the world. And this brings up a huge question for me. How in the world have you never gotten the USATF Masters Athlete of the Year for your age group? It mind boggles me.
That is a very good question. And thank you for sharing all that with me. I knew it was multiple times, but I really wasn't sure how many times. So when someone saw, hey, we found out you're ranked number one, I'm like, yeah, okay, that's kind of happened more than once. I just wasn't sure it was that many times that you have shared with me.
It's a
Um,
lot.
it's a lot. It is a lot. It sounds like it's every age group progressing on from age
Yeah.
32 and up or something like that.
Yeah, it
Um,
was over the years.
yeah. The only thing that I've heard, and they said if you don't compete internationally, like if you don't have a world championship, indoor or outdoor, they won't consider you as like a MVP, or they won't give you the honors if you just stay domestically. That's what I've heard. I've seen other people get, athlete of the year and masters athlete of the year and such, and they presented at the outdoor nationals.
Yeah.
And I tend to think to myself, well, what about me? But then it's like, okay, maybe this person had more meets than I did. Maybe they showed up at other venues that USATF Masters may have held that I didn't attend. I don't know. But another runner did tell me, yeah, if you don't compete internationally, you're not really recognized. Or if you win internationally, it's possible that they could consider you for that.
Okay, well, that would make sense. So world title trumps national title.
Pretty much.
World number one trumps US number one, which
Right.
in the sprints tend to be the same.
Hmm.
But man, this year you're on a tear. I mean, you were already world number one, and then you improved the time,
Hmm.
and you're within less than a quarter of a second of the world record,
Right.
not just the American record, but the world record. And then
Right.
now you just dropped that 200 time. Like, man, that 23:41, you look solid.
Oh, thank
How did
you.
that feel?
Let's see. Leading up to the race is normally, I can't speak for all sprinters, but typically after either the 100 or the 60, and then you have a little bit of downtime in between, providing you made it to finals, you
Mhm.
run twice, and you get yourself prepared for another race. You can't really eat too much in between. You don't want to feel heavy. You don't want to feel sluggish. You definitely
Yeah.
don't want to feel sleepy. But going in, and pretty much just, hey, it's just go time, take off up and down the embankments, and coming in on the final stretch, I was able to hold my form a little bit longer than the previous runs. So before indoor nationals, I'm going to work on either going back to the pool, doing some pool workouts, a lot of sled pulls, a lot of
Mm.
activation bands, high knee lifts over hurdles, and things of that nature. Anything and everything to keep the front mechanics working better. Basically, high knees up. Anything that'll keep your quads nice and strong all the way through. But
Yeah.
other than that, the race felt pretty good. No big flaws, no dying out at the end. You know, you look good in the beginning, but later on you falter and you start fading backwards. We definitely don't want that.
Yeah. Nice. So I was checking out the schedule. So Masters Indoor is coming up March 10th,
Yes.
and you're definitely planning on competing in that.
Yes, sir. Hmm.
Nice. So Worlds is right after that in
Right.
uh in Turin, right? Turin,
Yes.
Poland,
Hmm.
March 25th. Like,
Yes.
are you planning on Worlds?
Yes. I've spoken with it with my wife several times and definitely spoken it to myself over and over again. And so now's the time. And as you mentioned earlier, dealing with, well, why aren't you, looked at as either Hall of Fame or
Yeah.
athlete of the year? And so, yeah, this has to be the calling card. I mean, Poland is a long stretch. I'd rather it be closer to the US, but we're not all that fortunate. I mean,
Yeah.
even Great Britain would have been easier, but yeah, it actually, they held the same event there in 2019, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So on the logistics side, that's like 2 weeks between US nationals and then Poland. Yeah, I don't know if you have any international experience with USATF, but does that allow them enough time to get you uniforms and everything?
It should, and I believe with this, I don't know if they're going to mail out the kit or if they'll have it there for you when you arrive. I actually
Uh,
have the same kit from a meet we competed over in Canada in
yeah.
Toronto. And so they had the kit available there. And so if I'm not able to get a newer one, I'll use the same one that they had because I think it's the same outfit. Same uniform. I have to look again, but I have the one piece singlet, which still should fit.
Nice. Yeah, because my thought process for you was okay. So he's definitively US number one,
Mhm.
definitively world number one. So clinch the US title,
Mhm.
go to worlds, establish the gold. So now it's not, I'm just ranked number one. I am
Right.
number one.
Mhm.
So, and then hopefully duplicate that with an outdoor title as well. And it should be a Masters 50 age group athlete of the year.
That's the plan. That's the
It's kind of
plan.
like winning the Bowerman.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh wow. To whoever. Oh. Creme de la creme. Top notch.
So one thing that I've experienced on the Masters Tube side, and why I'm wanting to do this to begin with, this weekend is a perfect example. Okay, so World Masters, for the very first time ever, they're competing in the World Cross Country Championships,
Oh, they
and
are.
and they're recognized in the World Championships. So,
Wow.
what's World Athletics do? Totally treats them like a second class citizen, so to speak. There's no coverage of the Masters whatsoever. It's really hard to find results.
Mm.
And I'm just thinking, what the okay, so World Athletics, you're bad. All right, World Masters Athletics. Where's the coverage? There aren't even results on World Masters Athletics site.
Oh
Like
no.
these are your world athletes competing, and you're not even like even talking about them necessarily. Like it shocks me. So
Mhm.
I'm digging in or whatever. I end up posting some quick results last night on the YouTube channel on the
Mhm.
community section that April Lund and Ben Bruce joined up as a mixed relay masters team and took the silver freaking medal.
Oh wow.
And yet USATF Masters made no mention of that whatsoever. And nor did World Masters mention any results. Like it just mind boggles me. So I'm kind of taking it upon myself to get that news out there. So
Mhm.
we all know what's even going on.
Right, right. Because no one knows. It's like the tree that falls in the forest. You wouldn't know
Yeah,
unless you're there.
yeah. So yeah, hopefully, with a bunch of group efforts and me digging in and trying to figure things out and getting the word out, hopefully
Mhm.
not just the sport grows. I think the sport's large, but
Mhm.
exposure
Exposure.
is so tiny.
Right. It is.
So, with that athletes like yourself that are doing amazing things, Derek Pye yesterday being within 300ths of a second of the 60-meter world record for
Ye-
55.
yes, I
Like,
heard about that.
yeah, I mean, it's just amazing stuff. And then, you know, you guys doing the right things. I plan on end up getting in, sticking my toes in the water to compete as well. It's been
Okay.
20 years since I competed, but I think I'm going to be going for some big things this year as well in the long jump.
Great.
So, as you know, I just turned 50 over the weekend, so I'm I'm geeked out, excited.
And happy birthday. I want to start off by saying that, Van. Hats off to
Yeah,
you. You made it.
I know, right? I thought, man, half a century. I didn't think I'd make it a quarter century. So excited to be here. Excited to have good health and everything still too. Uh, One thing I just found interesting over the weekend, I noticed USATF Masters channel subscribed to Masters too.
Oh, the word has finally
Wow.
gotten out. Uh-huh.
And
Uh-huh.
I was checking them out and a different one, probably British Masters.
Hmm.
And we already like you Masters Tube already has more views than both of those channels. It's like I've only been doing this for
Wow.
a month. So if yeah, if I can figure out how to get more content and more results and all that out there, we could be doing
Mhm.
some amazing things for exposure for athletes like yourself.
Right. And Van, I think you've already cracked the can open on a lot of things that, and it's nothing against USA TF Masters or the Masters, different Masters pages that are out there, but I'm just gonna say when I joined and got into the ranks of masters, I really didn't know about it until I hit 30. I was so busy and focused on being that open competitor and trying to get into the Olympic trials and all of that good stuff, which is
Yeah.
great. But the face of masters track at the time, they showed previous Olympians. Kind of like how Lolo is in there now. Some were more youthful looking, and now it's pretty much transcended to pretty much the elders of the rankings. Nothing against them at all. But once you see what they showcase everyone that's pretty much retired. And I mean like retirement age. And others, they've talked to me before, and is that like the seniors game? The senior games are a totally different thing outside of USATF Masters. So I'm like,
Yeah.
don't get that confused. It's not the same deal. And nothing to take away from anyone that's 95 or 80, 70, 60, or 50. But the regular typical audience sees it as, it's not exciting if you see only one age group. If you see all of the age groups, it's more exciting. It gets more people involved. Like Tom Brady, for instance, okay, 45, they talked and talked and talked about it. Unbelievable, so on and so forth. So when someone thinks of anyone our age and up, it's like, yeah, it's not exciting. But if you make it exciting, which you've
Exactly.
done a good job of doing,
Oh,
then you
thanks.
start bringing people in. But on the other side of it, it's just like, so and so ran or whatever time today, and they're not really highlighting it. They're not putting it out there. I don't think USATF Masters has a YouTube channel. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I
They
haven't.
do.
They do.
They
Eh,
do.
what type of
And
videos are they
we've already
showing?
surpassed their views. Like that's shocking because they've been on there for years,
Wow.
years.
And see, I didn't even know. I guess I never even looked. Wow. So right now, what is their biggest video? If I
I
was to
don't.
look on, or any regular person was to look on, what would you see?
I honestly don't remember off the top of my head.
Mm,
Uh, I just noticed the other day because I get little notifications when someone subscribes,
mm-hmm.
and I was like, "That's USATF Masters." Clicked on it. And like, so they've got like 149 subscribers, something like that,
That's all.
and a few thousand views, kind of thing. I'm like, what the? We've been doing this for a month.
Right.
We're already boom, way past that. Like, and I'm just learning. Like, literally, the very first video I put out was so
Mm-hmm.
horrible that I've been literally spending the last month figuring out how to get equipment to work, how to do editing, all this kind of stuff, just as fast as possible
Right.
to get the right information out in the right format, interesting, whatever. Because I've got the stats and I can
Mm-hmm.
look things up really fast. Uh, but so do they. And they have for
Correct.
years. Why haven't they
Yes.
been getting the exposure out? These are the people that pay them money.
Right. And
Right.
that's a huge question. And I wish someone could tell could tell me. And like I said again before, years ago, it was brochures, and they did have a web. Well, they still have a web page, but they had a web page, and you would see different things going on. But
Mhm.
now, adding YouTube and digital age, you should see everything, highlights of the meets and all. I do know, with certain web pages like FL Runners is one, half mile timing, they will showcase those same championship type runs on there, and you can see it, but it's for a fee, of course. And I don't know
Ah,
if anyone wants to subscribe, and it's a monthly fee. But here is with YouTube, you get to see a quick glimpse of it.
yeah, exactly. And that's kind of what I was thinking too. Because when I first, like I said, tipped my toe in the water to try to figure out how to get the information out there in video form, do I do a website? Do I do all the things like Flow Track and Runner Space and all
Mm-hmm.
them do?
Right.
Or do I keep it simple? Everybody has access to YouTube and it doesn't cost
Everyone.
anything. We're
Correct.
going to do it on YouTube.
Hmm.
So,
Right
and,
choice.
and the ultimate plan is to, like here in America, ultimately be traveling all around the country to all these meets
Hmm.
and be there to film it and get that exposure out. A lot of live things and all that. All these are going to be very long down the road because it's extremely expensive to do that.
Oh, correct.
So it's all completely dependent on the channel growing.
Mhm.
So there definitely are successful channels out there that have pulled it off, and now that's all they do. They
That's all they
travel
do.
around and video sports events and those kinds of things. So hopefully we get to a point to where we're able to do that. And it's funny enough going to be dependent on folks like yourself that are doing amazing things, and as long as people are aware it's happening, they're going to get more interested in. I had no idea that was even happening. There's guys that are running that fast, blah blah blah,
Exactly.
and they're going to want to get involved. They're going to want to watch and become fans themselves. And so definitely appreciate your efforts out there and doing extremely well. And hopefully we can start exposing more of that so the sport grows.
Thank you, fan. Yeah, and I'm willing to help as much as I can. If it's just going out, being me, and running and making the finishes more exciting, which I want to try to plan on doing something like that. And it's interesting that you caught that pose. I was trying to work out a whole different pose, but you got it. Hey, Usain and everyone else has their little pose. Why can't I have mine?
Yeah.
But the guy behind me, real great guy. He kind of was like, he was in my shot at the time. I'm like, oh man, what are you doing? Yeah, but
Yeah, he was
he
trying to
didn't
shake your
understand.
hand or something. And you went into the pose.
Right, right.
It's
And he
pretty
didn't
funny.
understand.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
oh, good times. So,
Hmm.
in closing, you're going to compete at USATF Masters Indoor Nationals with a plan to go to Turin, Poland for World Championships. Uh, do you plan on videoing things when you're in Poland?
I actually want to reach out and see if I can find a videographer or a photographer to capture as much footage as I can and pretty much do the same thing you're doing. I mean, by all means, you've already broke the mold on it. But just for myself, yeah, just social media and just exposure for myself and pics and everything. It's hard to do it on your own. And plus, USA Track and Field, they'll tell you, hey, well, we have photos. Let me dial that back. USA Track and Field Masters, they actually have photographers there, but I I can't see the footage, or I'm going to the wrong place to find it. They said it's on platforms such as Facebook, and you get on and you don't see it, or you see a million other pictures, maybe one or two of you, or the video. Now that's excellent. They do excellent work on recording the races, so I will give them kudos for that. But individual videos or action shots of the person in the blocks, photos of anything of warming up, stretching, that type of ordeal. I'd like to capture that at both meets, the one in Kentucky and the one in Turin.
Nice. Well, that'd be awesome if you're able to. And the more word that we get out, the more we do
Mhm.
things like this. I'd like, because I know there's a lot of masters clubs that train together, and
Definitely
I'd like
is.
to get exposure of those. Like, hey guys, there's teams that, like, people take this extremely seriously.
Right.
Yeah, that kind of thing. And if we have athletes on the ground at
Hmm.
meets, that's even better.
Hmm. Definitely. Definitely. Do you plan on attending Nationals Masters? It's in
So unfortunately not. So I've already checked my schedule for this year,
Mhm.
and I am so booked that it's just not going to end up working out. Um, Next year, I think is going to be the big year for traveling and for competing and everything.
Okay.
But other than that, this year, probably October is the first opening that I'm going to end up having. So maybe like the Huntsman Senior Games, and then
Okay.
next year all USATF. So
All righty. Awesome. Oh,
all right,
yeah.
hey,
It went well after we got through our technical situation, well, at least on my side, technically. It just
yeah, I'm glad
we
that we
finally
got the
got it
opportunity
together.
to meet and to talk. And
Hmm.
I'll do some quick editing, put together a quick video and get this out there on the channel so others can see what we're doing or what we're wanting to do.
Okay.
And more importantly, see what you've done and what you plan to do for the rest of this indoor season, because it's amazing. So high five
Thank
to you,
you.
man.
Thank you. High five back. We got you.
All right. Well, hey, I'll go ahead and end the recording and enjoy the rest of your day. Let's go watch Lolo.